Welcome to the Quick Time Event Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Josh, and as always, I am joined by my partner in crime, John.
Ya boy.
The Quick Time Event Podcast is a chance for John and I to get together each and every week to talk about all of the nerdy things that we love. If you like what you hear, you can find us live on twitch.tv/QuickTimeEvent_ every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, whenever I figure my internet out, and also on YouTube and all of your favorite podcast services shortly after the live show ends. John, I feel like we should talk about this because it's been months at this point. It's been months. It's been ever since... I don't know.
Did something start this all? Like, it just came out of nowhere.
I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out what happened, because there were several things that happened right in a row in November. November was a big month.
Yes.
In November, I got PlayStation 5s. That was one thing.
Well,
Something else?
Or 5?
I have 2.
You have 2?
Yeah.
What?
I have 2 PlayStation 5s.
I did not know that.
I have one in my office and one in my TV.
I didn't realize that you had bought 2. I was under the impression that you bought 1. Man, there's a lot of people out there who might hate you now.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, I have PlayStation 5s. I also got a new job, which means I have new equipment that I didn't have prior to that job. It's just a new laptop and there's a docking station that I now have that I didn't have prior to that position.
Sure. Lots of new tech.
Just a bunch of new variables. And for whatever reason, something happened where intermittently, it's not all the time, and I can never figure out what exactly is causing it, but my upload speed just takes a huge shit on itself.
Question. When did you get the new job? Do you know the date?
I started the week before Thanksgiving.
Okay, then that wouldn't have done it. I was wondering, because I don't remember having any issues for Extra Life.
We didn't. It was after that.
I was hoping that one of those things happened before Extra Life, because then we could be like, okay, that's probably not it if we stream for 24 hours.
Right, but I didn't have the PlayStation 5s at Extra Life. I didn't have, that. It all happened after that. But it's not all the time, and it's not every day. It's just random. It's truly random. And it's always the upload speed, which is the one that's the sneaky one. Nobody would ever really even know that was happening unless they were like doing cloud saving or they were streaming. That's the only time anyone ever worries about upload speed. Download is and my download's always fine. My download is in the 600 megabits per second range every time. But my upload speed just tanks, and it's in the single digits or even less than that. Right now, when I just ran the last one, it was at 0.4. 0.4.
Yikes.
0.4. I should be getting 50. I mean, honestly, if we were anywhere else in the world, I would be getting like 500. But because we live in the United States where ISPs are fucking idiotic, I should be getting 50.
Yeah.
But I'm getting 0.5. 0.5. And I cannot figure it out. I've unplugged things. I've tried to... I bought a new router, and that router, I can see exactly where the bandwidth is coming from. I had this issue once before, like years ago, like when we first started the podcast. And what it ended up being at that point was Adobe, because Adobe Creative Cloud would be like uploading the podcast as we were recording it, which was causing issues. I know it's not that. I've checked that. Like when I look in Task Manager, there's the bandwidth column in Task Manager. There's nothing. There's no in or out. It's just at 0%. I check my computer. I check my work computer. I check Janet's work computer, our laptop, my iPad. There's nothing that's uploading. So I don't know what the hell it could be. Every time I contact the ISP too, they're like, no, everything looks fine. And I believe them. Maybe I shouldn't believe them. I don't know. Right now, I thought it was one thing today. I figured out it's not that thing. Where I'm at right now is that maybe it's the modem. I switched out our router a couple weeks ago. It solved the problem temporarily. More than likely, it wasn't happening because it's intermittent and it just seems like it's random.
Piece by piece, you are going to replace everything.
I think I have an old modem in the closet somewhere. I'm gonna dig it out and see if that
changes anything.
Because it's an old modem, it cannot handle the gigabit speeds we're supposed to be getting.
Sure.
However, it should be able to get me better than 0.5 upload.
Yeah.
So if I plug that in and it seems like it's working, then hopefully it's a modem issue. That's what I'm hoping it is.
Can just smash them together. Like take the consistency of the old one and the ability or capacity of the new one and just smush them.
But it's frustrating. It's so frustrating because I can't it's impossible to figure out what it is because there's too much tech. I'm not a professional. I'm not an IT professional as it is. And nobody's willing to help me. Whenever I try and contact the ISP or whenever I look on, I can't figure it out. I'm pretty good at troubleshooting things. I think that I'm pretty good at troubleshooting things and I can't figure it out. So if we have any network administrators out there that might be able to fucking help me with my bandwidth issue, please let me know. Drop in my DMs because I really, really need somebody to fucking help me.
Please.
And the other piece of this is the fucking pandemic. I don't want anyone in my house. I don't want a technician to come out and poke around in my house for no reason. Because I had that happen already. WoW came out. They sent a technician out. They came into my office. They looked at the router. They ran some tests. And they're like, yeah, it's all fine. Bye. Great. You came into my house for no reason.
Thank you for breaking my bubble.
But again, it's frustrating because we can't stream. We can't stream this show live. And I want to have consistency. I want to have consistency. And then on top of that, sure, we can upload this to YouTube, and our YouTube views have been doing pretty well lately.
It also takes over a day to upload.
It takes so fucking long to upload because this is being shot in full HD, and the file ends up being something like 60 gigs because it's a 2-hour podcast. So I'm uploading 60 gigs at 0.5 megabits per second. It takes fucking forever.
God, I didn't realize that the files are that huge.
Yeah, because it's full HD. I'll get into this in a minute, but I just shot my first ever scripted YouTube video. I shot that in 4K. That sucker's 170 gigabits. And that's only 20 minutes. It's a 20-minute video.
I remember, and this is going to be it's going to be half right, but half not. I remember uploading shit to YouTube forever ago. We're talking early 2000s. And they had a limit on, for sure, the time that a video could be. Because I think you had to be under 20 minutes. And I think there might have been a limit on the file size too.
I'm sure there was.
I don't remember what it was, but it was certainly under 60 gigs.
Yeah.
Granted, technology has vastly improved and changed.
Google has just a little bit more money than they did back in 2009.
Yeah. But I'm just remembering because I had a Let's Play series forever ago. It is gone as far as I know. I have removed it from the depths of the internet. I'm sure you could find it somewhere, but I just remember having to actually consciously think about video lengths and file sizes, and you saying I know that time is no longer a constraint. We release a 1.5 to 2 hour podcast every week
and a 4-hour Let's Play.
Yeah, but I didn't even think about the file size anymore. It's
ridiculous. It's a huge amount. And
how big's the Let's Play?
The Let's Play is it's about 150. Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, we're shooting in HD too. Back then, you were probably shooting in 720, maybe.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah,
I have those videos on an old an external hard drive. I could probably look at them and be like, oh, not only is the content bad, but the quality's bad too.
So just to put a little bow on this, I desperately want to have this podcast be live every week. I want to do our Let's Play live every week. It's just, I can't figure it out right now. I'm going to figure it out eventually. If that means switching ISPs, which I don't want to do, but if that ends up being what needs to happen, that'll happen. It's just, I'll have to figure this out in the meantime. So
that's kind of the last thing that you would want to do,
because that's
that involves people that I know that none of them have contracts, but stuff can get really weird where they're like, okay, here's your fee for turning it off. Here's your fee for transferring. Here's your fee for the new company to come in and set it up, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It's like that involves other people. That becomes such a huge headache.
And the last thing I want is for me to switch ISPs and for this to continue happening and it to have been a hardware issue. That's why I've been dragging my feet. I know that I've thrown WoW under the bus for the last 2 months as it's been happening, but like I don't want to call them out because the other part is Time Warner or not Time Warner. What is it now? Spectrum is it's probably like $20 more a month than what I'm paying with WoW, and WoW is actually the better service. You get more speed with WoW than you do with Spectrum.
Yeah, at least advertised.
Sure. I mean, if it turns out that it's reliability and Spectrum has reliability, then that's another story. But from what I've been able to gather from other people in this area that have those ISPs, there's not really a difference. So it could just be WoW's node in our neighborhood. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But
anybody else, any of your neighbors stream?
I'm confident that it's not hardware. I can see through my router how much bandwidth every device that is connected to the router is using.
Yeah.
And it's nothing. So since I know it's not a hardware issue, at least a hardware like a networking issue, it has to be my modem because I bought a new router. So I'm going to swap out the modem. If the modem doesn't fix it, then I think at that point I need to call Spectrum and switch over. So we're at the light is at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully we will be back to Twitch regularly, but for now, just expect uploads on YouTube because this is hell. I'm in hell.
True.
So on this week's episode of the QuickTime Event Podcast, we're going to be talking about Nintendo because Nintendo had a direct for the first time in how many days, John?
500 and what was the?
It was 500 and something.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was like 540. It was something kind of nice, like kind of even, I think.
So we will cover
regardless a very, very long time.
Yes, we will cover all of the news out of yesterday's Nintendo Direct. We will also continue our seemingly weekly discussion on Google Stadia. We got some news about Amazon's streaming service, and Bungie made the news today. So we will cover all of that in this episode. But before we get there, John, what have you been playing?
What have I been up to? I have I played the shit out of Tales of Vesperia. I think I'm almost done. It has gotten significantly better in terms of like, I know last time I was complaining that it was like too simple, and it has since ramped that up. It's almost as if like the first 15 hours was a tutorial to how anime game works. Because like now things are actually complex and like they're not quite as easily solved as they have been. So that's been a thing. I should wrap that up pretty soon. I finally crossed the 1/3 point at One Piece. So I'm officially over 33% of the way there.
Nice job. Nice job.
I'm at such a good arc and it's about to end. Like the big parts of the arc, like the action and stuff have ended, and now it's just like some kind of wrap up stuff.
Sure.
But man, it was so good. And I, believe it or not, I did what I said I was going to do. I watched Iron Man and Iron Man 2.
Oh, okay.
So I made progress. I was like, all right, I missed out on a week, so let's try to do 2 movies before the next podcast so I can basically be where I should be.
Nice.
So I have started the Marvel marathon. We have plans to watch Thor, I think, Sunday.
Okay.
Have
fun with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first phase 1, like going back to phase 1, it's so old. Not necessarily from like, I mean, honestly, and I think I'm looking at this with maybe rose-colored glasses because of how bad the effects were in Wonder Woman. But like the effects in those movies aren't so bad. Like I didn't see anything in Iron Man or Iron Man 2 that was like, wow, that looks like that's CG. I don't know about that.
There was something in Iron Man 2 that caught my eye. I can't exactly remember what it was now. I think it might have been when like the race car was getting like whipped apart and like chunks were coming off. I was like, oh, this is because normally I can't call out CG like I'm just bad at doing that.
It's just the
I don't know
CG.
what it is.
The CG in Wonder Woman was just like it was so bad. Like to the level where it's like it's not even Uncanny Valley. It's like the other side of Uncanny. Like it's not even good enough to be passable is the thing.
Yeah.
And so like after watching that, I've been really a lot more critical of CG. I think we've watched probably maybe eight or nine of the Marvel movies at this point since we watched Wonder Woman. And like I've actually been made it like not a conscious point, but I've been watching that kind of stuff and like noticing when I see certain things at this point. But yeah, in phase one of Marvel, like the movies the movies hold up as far as effects go. It's just like you can see the dated references in some of them, like in Iron Man especially, like the Tony Stark Playboy stuff. There's some of like just like this really early 2000s sexism going on that's just like, ooh,
oh yeah,
that doesn't really play well now, huh?
No.
Elon Musk's in a bar and he's like having a good time, and we're like, oh
yeah, I did see Elon Musk, and I was like, what the? Why are you here?
Not have that Paramount? Okay.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm enjoying them. It's fun to go back and watch them. We will definitely see with Thor. I think we have decided to skip Hulk since it's not on Disney Plus, and the only way that we, at least from a really basic search, that we could watch it would be to rent it. And I recall it not being worth renting.
I've never seen it. I mean, it's a totally different actor. Mark Ruffalo doesn't play Bruce Banner.
That was the other thing. It's like, it doesn't really fit into this universe
I think there's really only one other character, and he's either like a general or he's, maybe he's a senator or something, but there's like a government official that shows up later in the Marvel universe. But other than that, nothing carries over. Like none of Bruce Banner's character arc really covers over. Obviously Mark Ruffalo is not Edward Norton. Like there's no reason to watch that movie. Uh-oh. Did we lose you? You back?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I could hear you. That was weird.
Yeah, you kind of went away for a minute.
Well, anyways. I remember watching it back in the day, and I I was largely I wasn't unimpressed, but I also wasn't impressed. It was just a movie. So yeah, not gonna go out of my way to watch that.
That checks out. We just finished up. We watched Guardians and Guardians 2. Those two movies we're watching in timeline order.
Yeah, you mentioned.
Yeah, so those movies are basically back to back. Okay. And they are still like, I think they're probably Thor Ragnarok is my favorite, I think, but the Guardians and Guardians 2 fall right under that. And something I picked up on just watching these movies more critically now is there's this really cool thing that James Gunn does with some of the shots in Guardians where there's like a slow motion effect that happens, and you can tell, and I didn't catch it the first time, but it looks like panes out of the comic book. Like it looks like if you were to paint over it, it would be a comic book panel. And I didn't notice that.
I think I remember what you're talking about. It's like an explosion happens or something, and they kind of like pan over each character, but from like a kind of weird angle.
Sure, or like there will be like I think there's one in Guardians 1 where there's an explosion behind Chris Pratt's character, and he's coming towards he's coming towards the camera, but it's like slow motion as he comes toward the camera.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been noticing like kind of cool things like that, and that's not something that I picked up on the first time. Maybe because I just wasn't watching it critically, and it's just like if you're not thinking about it, it's just like, oh, that's a cool scene. But when you think about like the stylistic and the cinematography part of that,
I am very much looking forward to watching Guardians, especially because I have seen it once. I have not seen 2. And the only time I saw the first one was I had a bunch of friends over and we had a whole bunch of wine. So it's very hazy. But I know it's a good movie, so like I wanna do that.
Yeah, Guardians 2. I think for me it's Thor Ragnarok at the top, then Guardians 2, then Guardians 1.
All right. Nice. The only other thing that I think I did of note was played some Dark Souls 3, but we have since given up on like the main game, and we are now just doing like PvP, like arena almost. It's fun. It's a very different way of playing the game. That's for damn sure. Because like you can get invaded when you play just the campaign, but like now we are purposely either trying to be since we're playing as a group, we are actively trying to be invaded. So like it'll be 3 of us together, and then like 2 invaders will come in, and it'll just be like a fight.
So let's say you're not griefing. Do you usually play the Dark Souls games in soul form or in human form? Do you have a preference? Or is it just kind of whatever happens?
What do you mean? Like
do you purposely
as human, or
like do you ever purposely become human? Like just
besides for multiplayer stuff?
Yeah.
I would consider it in 3. I don't remember how much it affects 1 and 2, but in 3 your health goes up like another 30%.
Okay. In Demon Souls it's half. So when you're in soul form in Demon Souls, you're at 50% health.
Okay. Then yes, I would take that risk personally. But there are certain areas that are worse than others. So
sure. Fun. I have not. I've been playing more Apex, although this week I've not really played too many games. Because as I alluded earlier, I am almost. Actually, I have finished editing my first scripted YouTube video.
Yee!
I will. It's gonna come out Saturday morning. Is when it will be uploaded and available on YouTube.
How do you time that then? You can upload and then like release it, right?
Yeah, you can schedule for when it comes out. So I will upload it tomorrow afternoon and have it ready to go for Saturday morning.
Sure, it should be tomorrow afternoon, not like
well,
tonight.
It'll be tomorrow. It's not because I'm gonna give it one more pass over tomorrow.
Okay.
Just to, I've put probably. It's been a marathon. It's a 20-minute video. It took probably 2.5 hours to shoot. I want to say like planning and writing the script was another 3 hours, and then editing has probably been 10 to 15 hours this week.
Wow.
Oh, and then there's another 2.5 hours of capturing B-roll too. So that it's been probably a 20-hour video, probably condensed down into 20 minutes for your viewing pleasure. If you're watching the podcast or listening to the podcast on Friday, you can get a little. It's going to be the 5 PlayStation exclusive games that you should play if you are a new PlayStation owner.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So that will be...
How many do you think I've played?
1. No, 2.
All right. I have admittedly not played nearly as many PlayStation titles as I should have, but...
Didn't you buy, like, in the last 2 Black Friday sales, you bought like a ton of stuff and you haven't played?
Here's the thing. I probably own all of the titles on your list.
Yeah, I think you do. Well, no. You definitely own 4, I think.
All right. We'll see. We'll see when the video comes out.
Yeah. So
it's going on on your the YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, QuickTimeEvent.net.
Is it QuickTime Event or is it okay?
Indeed.
I forgot if it was that or CDR Magnus.
Yes. So that will be up on Saturday. I think I'm going to try and do every other week because they're scripted. It's not really a vlog. I took a lot of inspiration, I guess, from channels like Defunct Land, which is a video essay kind of channel on Disney World attractions, but then also some vlogging content. abroad in Japan is a big influence on the style, the presentation style, and that kind of stuff. So it's higher. It's not like a vlog. So it took a lot of time to like plan.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to give myself a week
You
to
didn't
plan.
just whip out your smartphone and like
No.
selfie record for 20 minutes and then just hit the
No.
upload button?
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to give myself a week to plan. I want to shoot it that next weekend and then edit the week after, basically, is my plan.
Okay. That seems reasonable. So so it's a 3-week process you're aiming for then?
2. Yeah, so every other week. So a week to plan, shoot it that weekend.
Oh, okay. See, whenever you said that, I, in my mind,
give it another week to shoot.
heard the comma, and I was like, a week to plan, a week to shoot it, and a week to edit. So that's 3.
Yeah, I guess it depends on because I'm not like, I'm trying to be niche. I'm definitely in the gaming and nerd culture. What this podcast is, whatever demographic this podcast falls into, that's the demographic I'm trying to fill with this content.
Sure.
But I'm not like, I'm not really nailing down like a set kind of topic, I guess. Like I'm not covering just PlayStation. I'm not covering just games.
Yeah.
So I think the subject matter I'm planning to cover is pretty diverse, and even the video I have planned for the next one is going to be way different than what I did for the first one. So yeah,
right.
I can't promise it's going to be every other week. That's what I'm aiming for, but we'll see how it goes.
Nice.
But I'm really enjoying it. Like editing is fun. It's a kind of a different process. It's hard to stay organized. I found. I think I probably have like 100 different assets between photos and B-roll clips and like stuff that I put into this video. I tweeted last night a picture of my workspace in Premiere Pro, and it's a mess. I want to get better at that. So hopefully it's not a mess in the future, but it's been fun.
Get there.
Different
Step by step.
Different than live content. Different from like what I've been doing on Twitch for the last couple of years, for sure.
Yeah.
But if you're not following me on YouTube, please go do that. That'd be very nice of you.
Go do that, please. Now, pause the podcast.
But Persona 5 Strikers comes out in 3 hours for me.
For you.
For me.
Yeah.
It's let me tell you, it's downloaded. It's on my PlayStation 5, but it has the little countdown clock on it that's like you can play it.
It's got the lock button, yeah.
But the music plays. Like when you hover over it on the cross media bar or whatever it's called, the music will play. And that song, that's a really good song. Excited for the music, which is something that I kind of like. When I think about Persona, a lot of my enjoyment from that game comes from the music, but that's not the first thing I think about.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
And so like just hearing that music the other day when I saw it on my PlayStation 5 was ooh.
Persona 4 and Persona 5, the only ones that I am used to are filled with absolute bops.
They're all so good. All of them. Persona 3 is full of bops. The little bit that I played at P1 was good. Shoji Meguro, man, a legend.
Knows what he's doing.
So let's get on to our topic of the show, which is the Nintendo Direct, the first Nintendo Direct since September 2019. It's been an entire pandemic since our last Nintendo Direct.
It has,
a pandemic and a half almost. Even.
It's almost been 2 pandemics.
So I assume that everybody that's listening to this podcast has probably seen a lot of this already. I'm sure
imagine
a lot of you have your opinions about the Nintendo Direct, how it went, maybe how you think Nintendo's doing. We're going to cover that at the end. I want to go through the Direct. I want to look at all these things and talk about them individually, and then we can talk about Nintendo at the end.
Piece by piece.
Step by step. Also, the WandaVision from last week had the intro was Malcolm in the Middle, and it was so fucking good.
Nice.
It was so good. So Nintendo Direct. First up, at the beginning of the Direct, give it to you right at the start. We have these anime characters, and they're talking in the worst British accents ever.
Not great.
And we get these two Xenoblade characters coming to Smash. I didn't even write down their names. I don't know. I can't remember what they are.
Either. I think one was like Myra or something.
It's Pyra and Mithra. Is it Pyra and Mithra? I think.
I probably just combined them.
I'm sorry. I know there are a lot of there's a lot of hardcore. The Xenoblade fans that are out there are hardcore Xenoblade fans. It's like you fall into one of two camps. You either don't know what Xenoblade is, or you fucking love Xenoblade. That's the only two.
That does seem to be the general consensus on the internet. Yep, it is Pyra and Mithra.
Okay. Here's my thing about Xenoblade. I hate the voice actors. I hate them. There is a clip of I think it's Shulk. I think the other character in Smash, Shulk. I think it's him. And there's these two, I don't know what the story of Xenoblade is. There's like these two mechs or something that are fighting each other. I think that people live on them. I think it's basically like the Legend of Korra Avatar dragon, or what are they called? The dragon turtles? Is that what they're called? Anyway, basically you live on top of this living creature or whatever. Like the world is a living creature. These two mechs are fighting each other. They're named Bionis and Mechonis, the most generic ass fucking names in the imaginable.
Is Bionis the good one and Mechonis the bad one?
I don't know. But there is a clip of Shulk screaming at somebody about wanting to find out why Bionis and Mechonis are fighting, and it's just the most awkward speech you will ever hear. I will post it in the Discord channel after this, but it's so fucking awkward. And just watching this Smash announcement with these voice actors, it's all the same. I will never get into that series because the voice acting to me is terrible. It's bad. I'm sorry if I'm shitting over something you like, but like this Smash Direct, even if I cared about these characters, would have been ruined because of the voice acting.
That's fair. That was one of the. I was on Twitch watching it, and a lot of people were like, as soon as they started talking, they were like, "Oh my god, this is awful."
It's so bad. It's like I don't know why there are so many like bad anime dubs shouldn't exist in the year 2021 when we have fan dubs that are sometimes like legit. Like we shouldn't be getting dubbings of anime and Japanese stuff that is bad.
Yeah, that should be a thing of the past.
So what do you think about Xenoblade characters? More Xenoblade characters.
Do not care. I just don't. I'm also in the camp of Xenoblade does nothing for me. And I don't know. This did nothing for me. It's not going to change. It's not going to make me want to play Smash more, which I think is the goal.
It doesn't make me want to buy this. Okay, so the only character that I really liked out of this, the second Smash Pass was Sephiroth. Like the ARMS character was like, okay, fine, we should get an ARMS character. That's a new IP that I don't know Nintendo's going to support in the future, but it's it's a fighting game. It makes sense. Let's get an ARMS character in here.
Yeah.
We'll get Sephiroth. Who was the second one? See, this pass has been so forgettable.
It's been so
for
long.
Me. It's been so long between, and it's been long. Yeah. Like Sephiroth at the Game Awards, that was a fucking hype announcement, and like to have him join Cloud is really
Steve.
Cool. Oh, Steve. Yeah, that's right. It's just like I don't know. These aren't announcements that I'm particularly inclined to care about.
No.
And there's just so much time between them. But Smash, I don't know. Again, it's one of those things where you either love this or you hate it. There's no in between.
I don't even feel like.
Yeah.
it's just an emptiness inside of me. The internet, at least from like the suggested topics and tweets on my timeline on Twitter, has very mixed feelings about I guess they gave one of these two characters tights and they were like,
oh,
kind of weird that you're doing that, but okay.
I'm guessing it was just legs in the game.
It was just leg before, and
Okay.
now I guess there's tights, and there's kind of split opinions on that.
I don't know how you have female Byleth in there, and like you have I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I really like Byleth, both the male and female versions of Byleth.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Byleth comes. She's got some. She's got some stuff going on.
I just don't understand. Like, these are Xenoblades is a Nintendo game, right?
Yeah, that was my next question for you.
These are your own characters. Why did you design them like this if you're gonna then censor them in a different game of yours?
So here's my question for you. What would it take? Because Xenoblade is a Nintendo. I don't know. I guess it's not owned. Let me walk that back. It's not a first party Nintendo game, but it is an exclusive Nintendo game.
Yes.
So you would think that Nintendo would want to hype this up. They've now released they've had Xenoblade 2. They've released both of those games as remasters too, I think, on the Switch.
I believe that's right. Yes.
They clearly care about the company cares about this series.
Yes. They are putting resources and time and effort into supporting it.
What would it take you, a Nintendo fan, to play Xenoblade? What would they have to do to get you to do that?
I don't know if there's anything they can do. Mostly because I knew nothing about the series before. I now know the tiniest sliver about the series, and one of the biggest things I know is that I did not care for the voice acting. So, like, are you going to redub the entire game?
No, they won't do that.
Maybe I'd consider, can I play it in Japanese with English subtitles?
I don't know about that. That could be a thing. I don't know that Nintendo really does that. I don't really think that Nintendo really does that. They didn't do it with Fire Emblem, and if they were going to do it with a game, I would think that Fire Emblem would have been that game.
Yeah. I don't know. The only thing, I can't even say that if they discounted it enough, I would play it, because, like, look at all the games that I got on Games with Gold that I never touched for free. Like, I just don't know if it's going to happen at all. Maybe if I'm really bored and trying to figure out what to do next after I finish, like, some enormous series or something.
Maybe this
would have to be on me.
Maybe this is unfair of me, but I kind of put Xenoblade in the same camp that I put Kingdom Hearts, where it's a game that it's not necessarily not for adults, but I feel like you're really only going to get something out of it if you played it when you were in your childhood days, like your teens, your early teens, like high school, basically middle school.
It feels like we missed the boat.
Sure. I never played Kingdom Hearts back then. I never played Xenoblade, obviously, but like this feels like the game that would fit into that part of your life. And if you liked it back then you might like it going forward. But to me, it's just not like I can't see myself ever getting into it because it just doesn't seem like the kind of subject matter that's going to interest me. And also it does like all that convoluted stuff that the Kingdom Hearts does just based on the names alone. It's like, can't you just like chill out with so much lore that it gets bogged down in itself. Like you need a degree just to understand what's going on in the game. I might sound like a total, I have no idea. I'm talking out of my ass about the game. This is just my perception of someone who is not interested in it.
Yeah. And it is something that I would like to give an honest shot at some point. But I've said that about Kingdom Hearts for years. And it still hasn't happened. So we will see.
Next up, Fall Guys coming to the Nintendo Switch and confirmed today the Xbox Series X and S and the Xbox One, which would also lead me to believe that it is also coming to PlayStation 5 as well. So basically,
it's not on PS5.
Well, it's PS4.
Yeah, I guess. I didn't really think that they would make a new, like, they'd have to do anything.
Well, they said they specified in the tweet today Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One. So if they're going to break it out there, I would assume we're getting a PS5 version as well. which that's all coming this summer. So yes. I believe that means PlayStation most likely bought a year of exclusivity. I'm just making an assumption there.
That would track. That would make sense. Timeline fits.
Happy for all of the people who have not been able to play Fall Guys yet. My biggest question is it going to be either cross-play or cross-progression or both?
I hope it's both. If it's not, I don't understand why.
I don't either.
Beanbot, explain.
Again, like Fall Guys is not a game that requires a mouse and keyboard to be really great at.
No.
Like and they even do that. You can play cross-play with PC in things like Apex. Like they allow you to do that in
where
FPSs.
There would be some kind of advantage.
Yes. So why would you not be able to do that for Fall Guys? But as it stands right now, there's no crossplay or cross progression between Steam and PlayStation 5. So I don't think that it will be there, at least not at launch. I hope it is.
See, the thing that I'm, the only reason I would think that cross progression might is because all the season rewards that people missed out on. Well, maybe not missed out on, but like that they got on their PlayStation or Steam version and now could not have access to if they got it on Switch or Xbox.
Yeah. But I mean, if that's the same thing right now with Steam and PS4. So if you wanted it on Steam and you got it on PS4, you don't have it right now.
I guess.
I mean, I hope they do. I looked
but
on
like at least if you got it for PlayStation and Steam right now, you had the chance to get it.
Yeah.
All the stuff that has now been like discontinued, I guess.
Sure.
If you get it for Switch or Xbox, there's a year's worth of stuff that you'll just, unless they're recycling everything, but there would be a year's worth of stuff that you just can't ever get.
You're saying that I guess you would have had on your original account.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I can see it both ways, because at the same time, nobody else on the Nintendo is going to have that either.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I don't know. I looked on their Twitter today. I tried to see if there were any, like, updates from Fall Guys game or from whatever that publisher is. I always forget the name of. What the fuck are they?
Mediatonic, is that it?
No, Mediatonic's the studio. Devolver.
That's it, yeah.
No updates there. So I hope that we get something soon, because I would love it to be crossplay. I'd love to be able to play on my Switch when I'm not at home and whenever COVID ends and all that
someday,
stuff. Someday,
eventually.
I don't know. It makes a lot of sense with that game, again, because it's not like super aim intensive or twitchy or anything. It's just a platformer. Let us platform with our friends no matter where they are.
Please and thank you.
The other thing is that if it is not crossplay, then the Nintendo people are going to be stranded on Nintendo's online and not going to be able to play with anybody else, which would not be great for them.
Don't worry, they built in a check for Vista.
The game is already the game is already buggy as shit. That's half the fun, right? Like the bugginess of the game, the way the guys bounce off each other when there's lag.
It's the wild factor. It's what you can't predict.
It's part of the charm. I don't know that the charm is going to be there on Nintendo's system though. If it's stuck over there, I think there might be too much charm.
I really, really hope that it is cross-play and cross-progression.
Same. Next up,
we'll see.
Next up, they showed The Outer Wilds coming to Switch. That's a game I always intended to play, but never ended up being able to find the time for. Nominated for a lot of Game of the Year nominations in 2019. Essentially,
did you not find the time for it? Isn't the big thing like the world explodes and resets every 22 minutes?
It's a roguelike. So yes, but also the game takes more than 22 minutes to complete.
Okay.
Another roguelike. You'll probably like it.
Well, maybe not, because Dead Cells kind of wore me out but then Hades was great. So roguelikes can be hit or miss for me.
It's also not a roguelike in the traditional sense. It's an exploration game that has roguelike elements, essentially.
That's true.
So
might get it. We'll see. It just made me think of Majora's Mask, but in space.
We are now 3 games into this direct.
Yes.
2 of these 3 games are old games.
Mm-hmm.
Not even like at least a year old games. Not a great start. Just want to put that little kernel in your head if you happen to not see this or you're hearing this for the first time. Next up, they showed some weird-ass discount Phoenix Wright game called Famicom Detective Club. You're solving murders.
There were 2 different versions, I think,
yeah.
But they were like almost named the same thing.
Basically, yeah, there's 2 different... you can buy both the games separately. There's 2 cases, essentially, and you're buying both of them, and it doesn't look great.
How much do those cost?
I don't know. I assume... Are those old games? I don't know. It's called Famicom Detective Club, but is it called Famicom Detective Club because they're alluding to Famicom, or were those games actually on the Famicom?
I don't know.
If they were actually on the Famicom, then this thing should be like $10, but if they weren't, then maybe it could be more than that. I don't know. The Phoenix Wright trilogy, I think, was $25. That's 3 games.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, according to Polygon, these 2 detective games were originally released for the Famicom Disk System in the late 80s.
Okay, well then hopefully they're cheap.
Hopefully, although that said, they probably basically rebuilt it from the ground up, so
sure.
They'll charge whatever they want.
Also, now knowing that, I no longer am going to call it a Phoenix Wright knockoff. A Phoenix Wright is probably the knockoff, but if you're going to pick one of those 2 games, I would probably play Phoenix Wright.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Then they moved on to Samurai Warriors 5, a Dynasty Warriors games about Sengoku period samurai.
Did 0 for me.
No, I don't necessarily like Japanese history. I know there are some people out there that fucking love Japanese history, like samurai, Sengoku era stuff.
Sure.
If I'm interested in Japanese history, it's like Meiji era stuff, like late 1800s. So this game, like from the historical side, does nothing for me. Also, it is a Dynasty Warriors game in the most Dynasty Warriors of ways. Which
that's the thing.
Also does not interest me.
Like, I like the Zelda Dynasty Warriors, but they're kind of at least the newer one is a new take on Dynasty Warriors. This is going back to the roots.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Then they gave us even more Monster Hunter Rise, as if we did not just get an entire direct about Monster Hunter Rise like a month ago.
Yeah, right? Why did you waste time on that?
We'll get to it. We'll get to it at the end. I don't understand a lot of things about the content they chose to put in this.
Did you skip one?
Did I? No. I don't. Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Legend of Mana Remastered was in there as well. Legend of Mana was a game I think I played on the PS1. I remember that name. Couldn't tell you anything about it. Sprites.
It was
pixel art.
Timeline, my Twitter timeline was actually kind of excited about that one.
I think it's a game that a lot of people have fond memories of. I also think that this remaster, I think that this came out on PS4 last year.
Oh, so I think ported.
This is a port of a remaster again for the Switch.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Now we're getting a good thing. I hope.
Yes.
I hope. Because
we'll see.
To me, the biggest announcement of this entire direct was shoved in the middle, and that was Super Mario Golf Rush.
Hell yeah.
I've been calling for Super Mario Golf on this podcast for years now. We're finally getting it. I'm excited. Did you fucking see Wario's goddamn outfit?
Your boy's fly now.
He's drip Wario.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. I just saw Drip Goku one day, and I'm like, why does this exist? I don't even know what drip means. I just assume that's like the brand of the clothing that he's wearing. I don't know.
I guess it just. I woke up one day and all of a sudden, all the anime characters were drip, and I was like, "What? What is this?"
I don't know. But Super Mario Golf. Again, I've wanted a golf game for a very long time. The last one was on the 3DS. I did not own a 3DS. I never got to play that game. So the last one I played would have been on the GameCube, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right. They really missed a chance by not putting it on the Wii.
Sure did. I'm not in love with the rush part. I hope that I think that mode will be fun as a party game.
Yeah.
But I want the golf part of Super Mario. I don't want to necessarily want to worry about Mario Karting my way around these golf courses.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what the game balance is going to look like. I also am not in love with the art style. We haven't seen very much of it. But did you really look at the course?
I didn't during the direct, but then I saw a tweet where somebody put a screenshot of a course from, I think, the 3DS version, which was full of charm and life and colors, and it was just vibrant, and there was so much just Mario shit in it. There were piranha plants all over, and it was just very, I don't know the right word, but it felt alive. And then this felt like almost a real golf course.
Yeah, except that I would even take a real golf course over what this looked like. It was when I think about what Super Mario Golf looked like on the GameCube, I think it looked like this. There's barely any foliage. The grass doesn't really have texture. It's just green. It just doesn't look good. And again, this is very plain, very plain. And we know that they can do better. We see the environments in Super Mario Odyssey. We see the environments even in the new Super Mario 3D World thing that came out, and Bowser's Fury that came out last week. The textures and the worlds in those games look way better than what was on here. Now, again, story, it was a trailer, it was in a direct, it was also probably poorly rezzed because of the streaming, and there's a lot of stuff that we don't know. But just from that little snippet that we got, I'm not in love with the art direction.
No, for sure. Here's hoping that it is drastically different when it actually comes out.
Yes. Then they went into a little bit of a montage, a little 3-game montage. I thought it was going to be a much longer montage and full of indie games, but it was not.
I also thought it was going to be full of the stuff that I wanted to see more of, and it also was not. Yeah, so in this montage, we got Tales from the Borderlands. Amazing fucking game. Please go play that. I would not probably play it on the Switch, though, because they're charging $20 for it. And at least before Telltale went under, you could get that for much cheaper elsewhere. Yes.
It is, in my opinion, the best Borderlands game. So take that as you will. My favorite of all of the Telltale games, even above The Wolf Among Us. So that's one of my favorite games.
High praise.
Capcom Arcade Collection, or Capcom Arcade Stadium, or whatever it was called, was full of Capcom arcade games. Nothing to see here. Nope. Then we get Stubbs the Zombie.
Didn't even remember the title.
Now,
me personally.
No, I don't know if this is a new Stubbs the Zombie game or one of the old Stubbs the Zombie games. It doesn't matter, though, because we don't need any Stubbs the Zombie games.
It's true.
But we're getting them.
We are indeed, and it's coming to Switch.
Out of the montage, they moved on to No More Heroes 3. Aliens are invading, I guess. Travis touchdown, gotta go kill the aliens.
Yep. Real curious what gross things Travis is gonna do. Because he's a vulgar lad, that's for sure.
Sure is.
And there's got to be an alien who's going to be like right up his alley, right?
I don't. What is Nintendo doing? Like, what? Why do they care about fucking Mithra's legs or whatever? But then you have No More Heroes, and I know that Nintendo's not publishing No More Heroes, but they put it in the same direct as this.
It's true. Travis Touchdown, I believe, on multiple occasions said fuck. Uncensored.
You know who never said fuck? Ryuji. Because they wouldn't let him. But Travis Touchdown says all the fucks.
You know who wanted to say fuck?
Ryuji. After No More Heroes, they showed a new indie game from Annapurna. This was an underrated one. This one looks interesting. I like Annapurna a lot. Neon White was it looks like a card shooter almost.
Oh, this one looks like it would confuse me.
Yeah, so like you were cycling through cards. Like there was a card for shooting, I think, and there was a card for jumping or a card for like movement, essentially.
Yeah, cards for parkour, basically.
Yeah, and like you would switch between the cards to do the actions.
Yeah.
Again, Annapurna, I don't know how you pronounce their name, but they have a great track record with the indie games that they publish. So visually it looked interesting, and I'm a fan of their work, so I will probably check that out at some point.
It kind of reminded me of the overwhelming sense that I get when I watch somebody play Beat Saber. Because whenever you watch somebody play Beat Saber, you're just like, what the hell? How are you not like, I don't know, having a seizure or something? This is way too much happening all at once. But I've been told by people who play it that like after the first hour or so, once you like get used to it, it just all makes sense and flows so well.
That's the thing about rhythm games is like,
yeah,
not to be coy, but like you get into a rhythm with them where you understand how it goes.
And that's definitely what this looks like. It'll use as a strength.
Yeah. Then they follow that up with DC Superhero Girls: Teen Power. Teen Power. I'm going to preface this by saying that I am a man. I obviously cannot speak for women. I don't intend to speak for women. I also don't want to be offended on the behalf of women. But this game to me, after watching the preview for it, just felt so... What's the word where you try to appeal like to a certain group of people for... Oh, what the fuck is that word? It felt
not pandering, right?
Yes, it felt like they were almost pandering.
Yeah.
To the young girl demographic.
Yeah.
Now
instead of just making good games.
Sure, I don't know who made this game. For all I know, this could be a development team of all women. And if that's the case and that's the game they wanted to make, then fine. But if this game came from like a dude that wanted to make this game to sell to young women, that to me, there's something gross there. Because the way that like the game came off, it was just like, it was too, to take a word from its title, teen power, in my opinion.
It felt like a Facebook game almost.
It felt like a Facebook game, and I made the analogy on Discord, but it felt like the idea of like pink razors. Like, I'm making this specifically for you because you're a girl. You want pink Legos, right? You don't want to play with the boy Legos. You want these pink Legos. That's what this game felt like to me. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe again, this game, there's no issues with it, but on face value, again, in 2021, when you're trying to think critically about these issues, to me, it did not come off in a good light.
Sure. I doubt that we will ever come back to it either.
No. We will never hear
it. Unless they throw it in another direct sometime.
It'll be in every direct going forward.
Thank you.
Then they released new footage of yet another old game. I think it was the sequel to Garden Warfare, but Plants vs. Zombies Battle for the Neighborhood is getting a complete edition on the Nintendo Switch.
Is Plants vs. Zombies, like, obviously it's still a thing, but is it really still a thing?
Yeah, I think I remember seeing something about it at EA. EA talked about it recently, where they were like, "Yeah, we're still making this series.
Are you though?
We see the series as bringing money into the company. We want to support the people who like this series."
Okay, EA.
Does nothing for me though.
Yeah, me neither. I never really got into it whenever it was more mainstream either.
No.
So
then we get Miitopia.
Oh boy.
Miitopia, which on its surface seems harmless, right? Like it's a game. You get to play with your Miis. You can have your Miis go on adventures with each other. You can make Josh's Mii into the enemy of your other Miis.
Yeah, Dark Lord Josh.
Dark Lord Josh can, fuck with all your other Miis.
I think in the trailer it was Dark Lord Stan.
I think so, yeah. Now, I don't know how deep the game is because we don't know all that much about it. We only got, a 30-second trailer or whatever.
I think it was on 3DS before, though.
Was it?
I think so.
Oh, that's horrible. I didn't even know that. That makes this, even worse because they're charging $60 for this thing.
Yeah, let's see.
So Miitopia, again, it looks like, I don't know. It basically looks like mini games, for your Mii in an RPG style sort of world.
It looks like Miitopia released on the 3DS in worldwide in 2017.
Oh,
yeah.
And now they want $60 for it. On the
I think
Nintendo
it's.
Switch.
I mean, it's not any better, but I think it's 50.
Oh, is it $49.99? So they're hitting.
So.
They're hitting that 1-2 Switch sweet spot, as they like to do.
I suppose so.
Oh my god.
Here's the worst part though. And this was just something I saw on Twitter again. I don't know for sure, but I thought that somebody mentioned that Miitopia on 3DS released for $35.
I have a question for you about something similar in a little bit.
Okay.
If you can remember.
I will certainly try.
But Nintendo is definitely playing with their funny money here.
Yeah. Currently it is $39.99 on the 3DS. So I'm guessing that's probably what it launched for.
Okay. Gotcha.
And it is. I have Nintendo's website up. It's $49.99 pre-ordered price on the eShop right now. Yikes!
Yikes, indeed. Now we are moving on to Super Mario stuff in Animal Crossing. Took them long enough for the 35th anniversary of the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers, which was last year, but they're celebrating it now. But it's for the 35th anniversary, which was last year.
Don't they know that Mario is he's dying in a month and a week or so?
Yeah. Also, yeah. Okay. So
March 31st, Mario's dead.
We're taking away Mario. You can no longer play Super Mario or Mario. What was it? Mario
3D All Stars.
No. Well, that one, but the Tetris
Super
one,
Mario 35 or whatever.
Super Mario 35. You can no longer play that. Also, you can no longer buy the 3D Mario collection. We will re-release them in 5 more years for the 40th anniversary. You can buy them for roughly 4 months again. But you know what? Those are going to go away. But you can dress like Luigi in Animal Crossing if you want to.
In memoriam.
In memoriam, yeah. You put your little. There were some cool things, like there were warp tunnels that actually work.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff coming in Animal Crossing, but under the guise of the 35th anniversary, during the 36th anniversary of Super Mario Bros., something just isn't right about that.
Doesn't add up.
Does
the
not
math
compute.
is not there. Also, like, you own both of these franchises. Why did it take this long for this collab?
Pandemic.
What?
Pandemic, John.
I get that there's a pandemic, But what?
Remember, like a month and a half ago when we did our predictions, and John, you were like, "Oh no, I believe they've overcome their pandemic difficulties." And I said, "No, John, it's been 6 more months, and they still haven't figured it out. They're even further behind now than they were back then." We now know that to be true.
I guess, yeah. I guess they're officially. It's not. When was the 35th anniversary? Like what month for Mario?
I have no idea.
Okay.
They did the direct, I think, in August, maybe July or August.
Yeah, but wasn't that even late?
I think so. Yeah.
Whatever. They're still behind.
The next
You're
game, right. the next game that they showed off was the most head scratching game of the entire direct, and that is, this is a placeholder title. But they had the gall to announce the title in this direct. It is Project Triangle Strategy. Project Triangle Strategy. Which is from the studio that did Octopath Traveler, which is a fine game. A lot of people love that game. But you take that game and you mix it with Fire Emblem, and this is what you get.
Pretty much.
Now, John, you might ask, hey, didn't we just get a Fire Emblem game that was about 3 houses like 2 years ago? And you would be correct.
2019.
You would be correct. We did get that. Yeah. A lot of people are hyped for this again because I don't want to crap on people's day because people really liked Octopath, and this is in the same lineage as that.
Every time you say Octopath, I think you're going to say Octodad.
And people liked Octodad too, but that has nothing to do with this. That's neither here nor there. It looks
pretty. What a
pretty.
bad title.
It looks pretty, but oh my god, that title. Oh my god.
Also, like, Salt Iron? Was that the name of the place?
Like, there was a lot of salt, and we had to have iron, and so we had the Salt Iron War. Who was naming this? Who is in charge of your English department, sirs? Can you guys how hard is it? Like, again, I have no experience in game development, but I would think that the title of the game would be one of the first things that I would consider about the game.
Yeah.
You probably start with a gameplay idea, like a core gameplay loop. But if you're going to come out and have this at a direct, fucking have a name for it, especially when it's as developed as it is.
Here's the thing. Whenever you have a plot thought out, you should have a thing to call an encompassing term for that plot, which is called the title.
You came out, you figured out Salt Iron. That's the name you're going with for your stupid war. Just call it Project Salt Iron War. That's way better than Project Triangle Strategy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bad working title.
Horrible working title.
Please fix.
Game looks pretty. I would probably just go back and do another run through of 3 houses before I play this, but
oh, for sure.
There you go.
Yeah, that game is not for you nor I.
Next up was Star Wars Hunters, which have no idea what it is, but it's developed by Zynga, which means I'm most likely not going to play it because it's going to be full of microtransactions.
Yep, no thanks. Goodbye. I forgot Zynga was a company.
I know. What have they done recently?
Maybe we'll find out next time.
Man. I don't remember what Knockout City was.
I think that was the one where it was like there was like an orc, and then there was that
that's right.
the 2D 3D princess pixel art person, and what did you call it? It was some kind of ball. I called it Calvin Ball.
Oh, Blurn's Ball,
because it was
from Futurama.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, so it's the trailer led you to believe this would be an interesting game about a Call of Duty Marine, a World of Warcraft orc, some sort of princess person, and there was one other character. And no, it's just a dodgeball game. Those characters aren't really in it at all. They're just they have their own avatars that just look like.
But was it a dodgeball game, or was it a get the ball to a certain place to score?
I don't know.
Game?
It was very confusing. There was no way to understand what the rules of the game were that they were playing, which is what led me to Blurn's Ball. There's that episode of Futurama where they're watching Blurn's Ball and none of it makes any goddamn sense. It reminded me of that. And it just looked like a Splatoon kind of knockoff almost, which is funny because we'll get there.
We will.
After that was World's End Club, which looks like it might be 2 games because it went in a totally different direction after the first 20 seconds.
They were like, "Oh, you're in an underwater city, and you're going to die." Just kidding. Back to Japan. Oh no, the apocalypse happened. What?
I don't know. It's from the people who make Danganronpa. It looked like Danganronpa. I just don't understand why they just didn't make a new Danganronpa. Hades is getting a physical release.
Ah, man.
You gonna buy it again?
But I don't want the game.
Yeah, the art book looked pretty. It had some nice stuff with it.
The art book looked good. I'm sure I could buy the soundtrack on like Steam or something, but like just getting the soundtrack would be nice. What else came with it? I don't really remember what else came with it. Besides, obviously, the game.
Yeah. Don't recall.
Is it worth the 40? Is it 40? I thought it was $39.99.
So. Yeah, it sounds right.
I don't think it's worth the $40 price tag. Now, if I could buy, like, if I could go splitsies with somebody who just wanted the game cartridge, sure, I would buy the other stuff for like 20 if they wanted the game for 20, because that's how much it goes for online anyways. But I'm not about to buy a physical copy of a game that I already own and just bought like 3 months ago.
Actually, I mean, does the $39.99 version of the game come with that stuff? Or was that a collector's edition?
I thought that it just came with that.
Because $39.99 really isn't that bad. Like, you figure the art book would have been $19.99 alone, and the soundtrack also would have probably been about that. So you might, if you think about it that way, it's not maybe the worst deal, even if you get a game you're not going to use.
I guess.
You could take it back to GameStop or something.
God, everybody's talking about cookies.
Cookies?
Please don't lick the Zagreus game card. Remember when that was a thing? When people were... I never did that. God. Did you do that?
No, I didn't. I don't know. Why did that start? And also, how did that become a viral thing before the internet was really a thing?
I don't know. I wish that... I mean, I'm okay with not knowing.
Yeah, that's true.
Hades is getting a physical release, which comes with the download code for the...
It comes with a code? It doesn't even come with a cartridge? It's just the fucking...
No, it's a download code for the soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
And then a big book of game art. So it is just those 2 things, and then the actual cartridge.
Okay.
And it looks like it is $40 for that whole thing.
Which
would make sense because the game is 20.
Sure.
And then you get the soundtrack and the art book for another 20.
Okay.
We'll see.
Ninja Gaiden.
I might be eating my own words later.
Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, and Ninja Gaiden 3 something are getting a trilogy remaster release on Switch. I don't have any affinity for the Ninja Gaiden series. I played one of them.
I watched my brother play it forever ago.
I played one of them.
It just seemed hard.
Yeah, I played one of them, and the only thing I remember about it was that it was hard as shit.
Yeah.
And not hard like Dark Souls is hard. Hard like this is just stupid.
Yeah, this is unfair. A friend of mine had a really funny tweet. He was like, "Oh, good. Now instead of throwing my controller across the room, I can throw my entire console."
I can't imagine playing a game like this. I mean, honestly, I can't imagine playing Dark Souls on my Switch, but like to play an even faster action game like this that is just painfully difficult on a fucking Switch. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
With Joy-Con drift even? Oh my God.
I think the next thing past throwing your controller would be just ripping your Switch in half. Out of just pure frustration, gripping it too hard.
I think I could snap. I definitely could snap the Switch in half. Like just like the screen. It'd be so easy to. I think I could just. I could crush a Joy-Con. I think too. If I wanted to, I could just fucking. Bye-bye, Joy-Con. That's $80 to replace that.
Thank you. They lowered the price, right?
No,
I thought they did.
I don't think they did.
I could have sworn that. Well, whatever. It's still too much money, however much they want.
Hyrule Warriors is getting a expansion pass. Rather, Age of Calamity is getting an expansion pass.
Give me more.
I wonder what they're going to do with it. I mean, they said it's a pass, so I wonder if it'll be.
There were two waves or whatever of content, whatever they call it.
So you're getting more for that for Zelda's 35th anniversary.
Love it. Actually love it. Like I'm not being a dick about that. I am excited. I have 100% of that game. I put like 80 hours in the first 3 weeks. Please give me more content.
Bravely Default 2 is coming out very shortly.
Hey, you never played Bravely Default 1, right?
No.
I didn't either.
I think I would if it was
Does
on
it
Switch.
Does it remind you of Tales? It reminds me of Tales, personally.
The art style to me looks more like Ni no Kuni, actually. No, let me take that
fair.
back.
I did not play Ni no Kuni, though. I bought it. I didn't play it.
I don't want to say the art style, because the art style of Ni no Kuni is just the Ghibli art style. Bravely Default doesn't look like that, but like there are parts of Ni no Kuni where you're in an overworld, and that looks like this.
Is that not in the Tales game you're playing?
No.
Oh, that's in the Tales game I'm playing.
Oh, no. In the Tales game that I was playing, it was just a regular RPG kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's in Vesperia. You can like leave the city and then you're on the overworld map and you're giant and you're just like running across and like your character is almost as big as the city that you're about to go in.
Gotcha. That's old school JRPG stuff. That's Final Fantasy. That's everything. But yeah, Zestiria again came out just a couple years ago, so it's been
sure
upgraded since. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection is a new Ghosts and Goblins game that you're getting. I don't remember what Saga Frontier Remastered is, but that's another game that you're getting.
I also don't. If you hadn't put that on there, I would not have caught it.
Apex Legends coming to Nintendo Switch, if it hasn't already. Very shortly, getting that Apex.
Guess who's not ever going to play it on the Switch?
I hope nobody, honestly. I don't.
Yeah. You know what's even worse? You know what's just a big kick in the teeth with that news? Is that they are going to focus some effort and like resources on that. But currently, if you try to play it on PC, like you get stuck at the launch screen and you can't actually play. Like, why are you bringing it to Switch if you can't even have it like your established user base on PC? What are you doing? Get your head in the game.
Not prioritizing. They want to get it out so they can sell more battle passes.
Yeah.
Then we get to the big news. We're ending the direct, John. It's time for the most exciting announcements. Let's start with Zelda's 35th anniversary.
Let's start with an apology.
What apology do you want?
No, I'm saying like that's literally how they started. They were
oh.
Hey,
you're right.
Breath of the Wild 2.
Why would they wheel him out? Why would he even be here? Why would they do that? What's that guy's name?
It starts with an E.
Anyway, the game director of the Zelda series was on the direct, and he comes out and he's sitting there and he's like, "Hi guys, you're seeing me right now, which probably means you're expecting something. I'm very sorry to report that I have nothing to report. Breath of the Wild 2 is not ready to be talked about. We will get more information about its progress later this year." Let's stop right there for a second. What is that? As a Zelda fan, what does that mean to you?
I was confused. I still am confused because Nintendo has never look at the Mario 35th anniversary. They didn't talk about stuff when they quote unquote should have. And like Nintendo's never cared about doing what the fans want.
That is correct.
So why'd they even mention it? Why did they talk about it? Like, that's never been their go-to strategy before.
Yeah.
Like, normally in the past, they just wouldn't. They just would have gone on with the stuff that they had to announce. They wouldn't have mentioned anything about this. Like, they didn't say whenever they had that little cinematic teaser and the like title card, they didn't give us a release date or even a release window. I don't understand why they felt the need to address it, other than they knew that internet fanboys were going to be pissy, but like that's never stopped them before.
Was there a release date for Skyward Sword? I assume there was, because I think pre-order stuff went out.
July 16th.
Okay.
I think maybe the 17th.
I kind of wonder if, like, let's say, so if that's coming out in July, it would make sense to announce that here.
Yes.
At least that game.
Mm-hmm.
But if you announce that game and you don't talk about Zelda at all, when it's the 35th anniversary of Zelda, I think that might lead to a situation. But again, Nintendo has never cared about this stuff in the past. But to me, that would lead to a situation where your fans are going to be like the rest of the year expecting Breath of the Wild 2 essentially this year. Like, oh, we're getting this here, but they haven't talked about that at all. So that must be a surprise announcement for this fall. But to your point, Nintendo has never cared about that shit in the past. They're just like, it's going to come out when it comes out. They haven't talked about Metroid ever. Metroid Prime 3, they announced it. Then Metroid Prime 4, they announced it. They decided they needed to scrap the entire project and start back over with, what's the studio?
Retro.
Retro, with Retro at the helm. But even when they hit the reboot, that was just like an industry, like insider news story that came out. That wasn't Nintendo making any kind of announcement. They haven't talked about Metroid Prime 4 since that E3 where they announced it. You would think that they would do the same thing with Breath of the Wild. They're not going to talk about it until it's ready.
That's what I've come to expect, is that they will tell us when they have news.
Sure. But because it's the 35th anniversary. Right. I think it's because it's the 35th anniversary, their fans are expecting them to put out Zelda content this year.
Yeah.
And they want to just let them down early, I think. That's the only reason I can think of. Because if not, if you don't mention it, then the rest of the year, all they're going to hear from their fans on Twitter or whenever they have another mini direct or whatever, well, where's Zelda?
Yeah, but here's the thing. They didn't close the door. They said, we'll give you more info later this year.
I feel like they did.
They're still going to get all the questions.
Well, I feel like they did. I feel like him being here closed the door. Like, they wouldn't have wheeled him out because, like, the other thing is this puts the onus on him. I almost wonder if this is like one of those ritual Japanese things where, like, his team is behind and, like, he has to be the one to come out and say, like,
I'm behind.
We're not ready yet. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, him being there and him saying, you know, we'll have more information for you later this year. This game's definitely not coming out this year. At least in my eyes. It's 100% not coming out this year. You're probably going to get more information about it later for a spring 2022 release.
Maybe. We'll see. It was just a weird overall vibe.
Sure.
Whenever he was talking about that.
So they wheel him out. He gives that whole spiel, and then he drops Skyward Sword HD.
Yes. Something that was heavily rumored to be in production at least the second half of last year.
It's the only 3D Zelda game that has not gotten a re-release.
Yes.
So it makes sense. I understand that there was a lot of people who wanted more than this.
Yeah, I assume I hoped that when Skyward Sword, and I don't understand it, and we'll go into this a little bit more in a little bit, but like Skyward Sword HD is the last one that needed to be remade into HD and re-released. Why didn't they give us an anniversary collection? They have, and I don't know how hard this is to do, but they have Wind Waker HD for Wii U and Twilight Princess HD for Wii U. I can't imagine it's too terribly difficult to port a Wii U HD title to the Switch.
They've done it several times now.
Like, the work's been done. File save as .switch. I don't understand what they're doing unless it's the worst thing.
I think that's it. I think it's the worst thing. We've
Yeah.
seen them do the worst thing over and over again. The worst thing being selling all of these things individually. Like, okay, we asked this exact same question last year. At least we got a trilogy of Mario games, but why wasn't Galaxy 2 in there? There's no reason for Galaxy 2 not to have been in there.
Yeah.
It's because I fully expect them to re-release that game and sell it in the relatively near future, probably.
For $59.99.
$59.99. Yeah. Skyward Sword HD, a game that came out in, 2010?
2012, I think.
So almost a 10-year-old
Maybe 2011.
game.
I think it is. I think this is the 10-year anniversary, actually.
So a 10-year-old game you're selling for $60 with graphics that are slightly up-resed graphics to make it full HD. We're not even talking about 4K right now. We're talking about a full HD version of this game. You reworked the motion controls so that they're not dependent on a Wiimote. EA is selling the entirety of the Mass Effect trilogy with completely new textures, or at the very least, very upgraded textures. And improved gameplay for Mass Effect 1, which is very decrepit at this point. They're selling all three of those games together. At least with Mario 3D, whatever the hell, we got 3 games with it. This is one game, one 10-year-old game you're charging full price for? Holy fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Nintendo was on some kind of shit. And when we said the worst thing earlier, there were rumors today. You posted to the Discord channel. There are rumors going around the internet right now. Rumors, but rumors nonetheless, that we could see those other Zelda games drop later this year.
Yep. There's rumors that Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD will make their way to the Switch in 2021, probably as separate $59.99 purchases.
So you can spend $180 on 3 Zelda games that are 10 plus years old.
Yep.
They're on another fucking planet.
It's true.
And they're getting away with it because their fans are eating it up. They're having a fucking field day buying as many Switches as they can and giving them record profits. And until that changes, don't expect to see a new Nintendo. This is what we get.
Yeah, it goes back to that age-old kind of vote with your wallet mentality.
They ended then with a fucking weird trailer for Splatoon 3. Splatoon 3 due out in 2022. I also love how they were like, this direct is about games that are coming out in the first half of 2021. And then we get we get Splatoon 3, we get that Project Triangle Strategy, whatever the hell. Like, just a ton of games that are not coming out this year even.
Breaking their own rules.
But anyway, that Splatoon trailer was weird. Like, it was the apocalypse. The fucking Eiffel Tower was like in the desert. They're on a weird train.
Upside down and buried.
They show up at some weird cyberpunk city, and it's like, what is going on in this universe?
I've never played the Splatoon games. I mean, I played the story mode, which were fun, but like I never played the story mode for the plot. I played it just because it was kind of mindless fun.
Sure.
I don't really know what, if anything, if there's a common thread connecting all the games besides the fact that like you're a squid kid shooting ink. I was unaware.
Yeah. I know that this is another series. I'm glad that they're sticking behind this series. I don't think that they're going to stick behind ARMS, but
Probably not.
I'm glad that they're at least like putting their money where their mouth is. I know this game also makes them a ton of money in Asia. It's really, really popular in Asia.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
I mean, it is a lot of fun.
I almost thought that like it's too early, but also Splatoon 2 came out 4 years ago, so not really.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like the Switch has been out for 4 years.
It really doesn't. It's wild that we're probably, and I think somebody, a Nintendo exec even came out and said this recently, but like we're probably at around the halfway point in the Switch's life cycle, which is insane because I remember getting it seemingly not that long ago.
So
can't wait for the new console to not have cartridges.
So let's talk about Nintendo now.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 500 plus days since we have a direct, a proper direct. They give us this direct. What are your thoughts on this direct overall and what that means for the company?
I think Nintendo's just going to do whatever they want. Like they went into this knowing damn well what people wanted. And this is still what they gave us.
Why do you think they did it? Like they went 500 days, over a year and a half without a direct.
Like I thought the direct minis weren't a bad thing.
No, I mean, as long as they were putting them out like once every month or so, once every month and a half or 2 months, I felt like that was okay. Because most of this in my eyes should have been in those. Like when I think about when I look at this, really the only games that deserve to be in the direct are the Smash announcement. Fall Guys probably would have made it there.
Yeah.
Like Bravely Default 2, Hyrule Warriors, the Skyward Sword announcement, and Splatoon. Maybe the trilogy triangle strategy thing. Yeah. Everything else,
maybe no more heroes.
Sure. But like 2/3 of these games are partner direct or Nindies direct,
or even just montage,
or just a tweet one day.
Yeah.
You remember that Super Mario not Super Mario. What was the last Paper Mario game? Paper Mario, Super Paper Mario?
The King.
Oh, yeah, the Origami King. That was just a trailer. That didn't even get a direct. It was just, we woke up one morning and they're like, hey, here you go. Here's a trailer for this game. It's coming out in like a month. But Knockout City makes it to a direct. Miitopia, a 3DS game from 4 years ago, makes it to a direct. What?
Yeah, I'm real confused. And they could have done a mini direct focused around Splatoon with like some of these miscellaneous things. They could have saved Skyward Sword HD and done a Zelda direct in a couple months.
What? Because to me, I don't think they need to talk. The only things that I would have talked about were truly first half 2021 things.
Yeah.
I don't think they needed to talk about Splatoon. Like, no one's expecting Splatoon, and at this point, we're not getting Splatoon for at least another year. So why talk about it at all?
Yeah. Yeah, this should have been a direct mini with the Smash Bros. Announcement. Just save Mario Golf for later. Save Skyward Sword. If they had done that in like June when they allegedly should have news on Breath of the Wild 2. And they were like, hey, in a month, you're getting Skyward Sword HD. And here's the news about Breath of the Wild. And here's all the expansion pass, whatever, for Age of Calamity. That would have been a really, really good Zelda mini direct. But they kind of like split it.
Yeah.
And made it really far away.
I do feel like they want. Okay, here's my take.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this was a bad direct in and of itself. I thought the direct was fine.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good direct after taking 500 days off, though.
No.
Like, to take a year and a half off from this format only to come back with this. To me does not make sense.
This was very average.
For sure. When you have when your fan base is the most rabid fan base and the most like ridiculous when it comes to expectations. To have them riled up at the fact that we're getting a proper direct and then to come out and drop this slate of games, to me, doesn't make any sense. I almost feel like they needed to do it because maybe they want to start the direct cycle again. Maybe they got off the rocker and they're like, okay, we need to get back on the horse. So let's just give everybody what we got. And this is what we have. Like, let's force our Splatoon team to come up with a short teaser trailer, essentially, because we need a ringer to close this thing.
Yeah.
It's just they don't have the content right now, which leads me to my next question, which is, we're in year 4 of the Switch.
Yes.
Nintendo should be firing on all cylinders right now.
100%.
Where are they? Where are the cylinders? Because all they're firing on right now are re-releases of games. Look at the games we're getting here. We're getting older games. We're getting Fall Guys. We're getting Outer Wilds. We're getting a Famicom game that's old. Legend of Mana remastered. There are some new ones for sure. Monster Hunter Rise from Capcom is a new game. Super Mario Golf Rush is a new game. However, Super Mario Golf Rush, from what I could see of it, looks pretty pared down. Doesn't look like it should be a full $60 release. We're getting a Miitopia re-release. We're getting a Skyward Sword re-release. We're getting a bunch of old games. Where are the new games? The Wii U had new games. Why doesn't the Switch have new games? That's concerning to me. I know that they're going to happen eventually, but what's going on right now?
Yeah.
Why have we not made progress?
So I think that there are 3 kind of paths that you can take with financial success as a company. You can take path number 1, the preferred path, which is what Sony has been doing, where you make a lot of money and then you reinvest that money into yourself and your studios so that you can continue to make a lot of money and you have new stuff. You might not be able to pump it out as quickly as you want to, but it's going to be quality and it's going to maintain that stream of income over time. Path number 2, you make a lot of money, you don't have the ideas, you get too big, and then you have to shut down the story of Telltale. I think that Nintendo picked path number 3, which is you make a lot of money and you become gluttonous and just kind of fall asleep at the wheel.
That's the thing.
And you'll wake up in like 3 years and recover, but there's going to be like a 3-year hole where you could have capitalized and put yourself in a very good position, but instead you just decided to essentially take a break and swim in your pile of money.
Right. Because to me, it feels like they're just phoning it in.
Yeah.
Because even with the stuff they are releasing, they could be releasing it better. They could have made the Mario 3D collection better by adding in that other game. They could have made this Skyward Sword game, they could have made that better with the addition of other games that they could very easily port along with it that don't require the additional move control support and stuff. They already have those games.
It's literally just call it the HD collection. It's now that you have Skyward Sword HD, you released Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD on the Switch. You have to do nothing at this point.
So I kind of feel, again, I'm talking about a lot of feelings. I don't think anything because no one knows what's going on in the Nintendo headquarters, but I think they could be doing a lot better with the stuff they are putting out, because they're putting out a lot of stuff. It's not like they're not releasing stuff. No. They're just not being smart about it, it seems like. Because obviously game development takes a lot of time. We know Metroid Prime 4 was scrapped 2 years ago and basically had to be completely restarted.
Yeah, and they, like, at the end of last year were hiring for big positions within Retro Studios. Like, that game's not coming out anytime soon.
Right. We know we're getting Breath of the Wild 2. I would assume that there's another full-scale Mario 3D Mario game in development.
Yeah.
They're releasing stuff. And they're partnering with other third-party publishers to put out stuff. We're getting a Monster Hunter game. We're getting things from Platinum like Astral Chain. Like, we're getting games. It's just your first-party studios right now seem to be shoveling out like the lowest common denominator. When you could be just doing, and like, it's not just a money kind of thing. Like, Nintendo already has a ton of money. They don't need to sell Skyward Sword HD for $60.
No.
Not after the fucking banner year they had last year. They can afford to pack in at least one other game. At least put Twilight Princess in there. Like, at least have one, not just the one game. And they could be not only would that drum up excitement, but it would drum up like support for their vision if they were pulling that part off, but they're not pulling this part off, which then, like, I don't know, it kills the mood for the stuff that's coming down the line. At least for me.
I feel you. That's a good way of putting it.
Any other thoughts on Nintendo?
Not really.
One last question. So we got this Direct.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that the next full-scale Direct would probably be June for E3, whatever that is.
Quote unquote, yes.
Are we getting that? Or do you think they're going to like go back in hibernation? Are we moving back to just mini Directs and partner showcases?
Honestly, if this is what we have to expect from proper Directs, I would rather go back to mini Directs.
Same. Yeah, I agree.
I had a lot more fun. I was a lot more hyped. And this is largely due to the formatting and having to have this many things in a 50-minute window and having that 50-minute time frame. But like with smaller mini Directs, just as a result of them being shorter, they were more focused and the hype was higher because of that focus.
That first mini Direct that they did, I think it was last summer, maybe late last summer. That one was bad.
Yes.
But the 3 or 4 that they had after that kept getting better. They were more focused. They were games that we actually cared about.
I'm like, yeah, you had your little montage in there to be like, okay, here's a little shout out to all this stuff also happening, but that's not why you're here. That's just a little bonus for just a minute of your time while you are here. That's the format that I liked.
Agreed. I'm going to finish this conversation with a prediction, by the way.
Okay.
We have this Direct, which was supposed to be a first half 2021 Direct.
Mm-hmm.
Shin Megami Tensei 5 was not in it. A game that is slated for May, I believe.
Weird. That's in the first half of 2021.
Sure is. And it's a Nintendo exclusive game, which you would think they would want to put in something like this. It kind of leads me down a road to believe that Atlas doesn't, maybe they're not prepared.
Can you imagine if they didn't just drag out the Zelda director to apologize, but they also made Atlas show up and be like, hey, we are also sorry.
I do not believe that Shin Megami Tensei 5 is coming out. It could still come out this year, but if it is, it's going to be this fall at the earliest. It's not coming out in May or the first half of the year like they said it's going to. I just feel it.
How much say does Nintendo get in that?
I don't think
like
any.
not in like saying, hey, you have to work on this and release it, but like, let's say Atlas has it ready to go and they're like, okay, we want to release this in October, and Nintendo's like, hold up, wait, we had plans to release Breath of the Wild 2 in October. You can't do that. What happens then? Do they get to like have that ultimate deciding factor?
I guess it depends on what kind of deal they have worked out. If they have either, like,
I guess, yeah.
Why is Shin Megami Tensei 5 a Nintendo exclusive game? Because Shin Megami Tensei 3 Remastered is not. Did Nintendo help fund Shin Megami Tensei 5? Or is there like, it would have to be in the contract, I would assume.
Probably. But like if it is delayed, then obviously there's already been a breach of.
That's true. Oh no, you fell out again. You're gone. I can't hear you. Maybe he comes back. Are you back now, buddy? Can you hear me now? Nope. Okay, folks. Well, apparently Discord has died. So we're going to close out the podcast like this, which is unfortunate. Would have liked to finish that discussion, but if you like what you heard, you can find the QuickTime Event podcast on all of your I'm so frazzled now. All of your favorite podcast services all across the internet, as well as on YouTube and on twitch.tv/QuickTimeEvent_ whenever we figure our shit out with the internet. I did actually just check. I Twittered it. That's the first time I've ever used Twitter as a verb, but I looked into what's going on, and apparently Discord is just down. Discord is royally borked right now, so we're not going to be able to finish the podcast for sure. We will be back with QuickTime Event Plays Persona 4 Golden next week. We took this week off because of my internet. We will definitely be back next week, hopefully live on Twitch, but if not, the VOD will be available on YouTube Wednesday afternoon. Also, look for my first YouTube video coming out this Saturday. Should be live. I think I'm going to make it go live around 10 a.m. Saturday morning. Again, about the best PlayStation exclusive games that you should be playing as a new PlayStation owner. I have lots of humor thrown in. If you like the humor of this podcast, I hope that you will like the humor of that video. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Clasen. John is on Twitter at John Kameko. Thank you all for tuning in. We much appreciate your views and your love. Have yourselves a great weekend and a very nice evening. Bye.